watching the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast.
Hey folks, how's it going? This is Steve Grover from Grover Law Firm. This is a new year, 2023, and our office has decided to do a podcast, but we're going to call it a pawcast because I'm not the main person of the show, unfortunately. I'm second to Roosevelt. Roosevelt, you want to say hi to the camera here? So this is the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast, first episode, and since this is a coffee sponsored show, I have to put out a nice outlet to Chronicle Coffee Shop here in Calgary. They provided our coffee today, and this flavor today is the Hula, Huila, Organic Colombian Coffee. Tasty notes are lime, caramel, and chocolate milk. Sure still sounds yummy to me. So Trevor Dech, is it Trevor Dech?
It is.
Okay, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
All right, well, thank you for being on the first episode of the podcast. Obviously, we've got Roosevelt here. Do you have any questions right now for Trevor? Roosevelt? No? I guess the cat got his tongue again. Is that okay? All right. So I'll just take it over, but he's the main star of the show. I'll be just asking you some questions, and hopefully, we'll have a good time today.
Absolutely.
I know who you are. We've been friends for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little about yourself? People out there that don't know who Trevor Dech is.
Well, Steve, thanks you and Roosevelt to have me on the first podcast here. So that's awesome. Myself, I was born in 1967 in Regina. Don't hold that against me. Just kidding. We were there for about 3 months, and then Dad moved us out here. He was a heavy-duty mechanic. He just loved tinkering with lawnmowers and motorcycles. And at age of 3, he put me on a bike, and off we went. So it was my job to kind of ride the bikes. And obviously, if I was able to ride back to him, they were good to go. So I got the job of cleaning them. He would sell them. I'd get $10, and we'd do the same thing with lawnmowers as well. So I was kind of a test rider and a test lawnmower person, I guess. And then, motorcycling was kind of all part of my life. I don't think my mom knew I rode till I was like 13. And I don't know how it ever came about, but I know they were sleeping in separate beds at that time. No, I'm just kidding. But, I spent some time, and then I got into basically teaching in 1991, where a past girlfriend wanted to take some lessons. I'm like, well, I'm not an instructor. Yeah, I know how to ride, but I'm not an actual coach. So we got some lessons down at A Driving School at McMahon Stadium. Showed up there the day, and the instructor there kind of threw her a set of keys, said, go warm up on the bike, I'll be right with you. And I'm like, well, she's never ridden before. So I spent about an hour, and I said, and then he came over and they had their lesson. I'm like, you know what? This is kind of a pretty cool little thing to get involved. So I talked to the owners of the A Driving School. They were down just right beside Lick's Ice Cream on Memorial Drive / Parkland. And I asked, well, what does it take to be an instructor? And they said, well, you got to pay $1,500. I'm like, $1,500? I make like $5-6 an hour. That ain't gonna happen. But I was able to work it off, and about 3 months later of working off that money, I was able to take my instructor's license exam, passed, and kind of never looked back. And then in 2003, we decided, it's time to part ways. They wanted to teach a lot of people at once on small little bikes, so it was more of a basic control course, but we wanted to do an actual riding course. So smaller groups, some newer style bikes, and that's how kind of Too Cool started in 2003. And it's funny because 2003 is the same year that you started your practice here as well. So that's it. We're celebrating our 20th year anniversary. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, that sounds awesome. So why don't we do this? Since we got some nice coffee from Chronicle here in Calgary, let's have a cheers and try out their coffee.
Skål.
Oh, that is delicious coffee.
Very nice.
Very nice. Roosevelt,
nice.
you
Thank
want
you so
some?
much for.
No, you're not into coffee, so okay. So I mean, we've been friends for about 20 years. So just tell me about Too Cool Motorcycle School. I mean, obviously it started in 2003. How's it come along in the last almost 20 years now? And just give us a little why you got into motorcycle training and what's your passion about it.
Well, from that day back in 1991, I had no idea. It was just kind of a part-time job. I had a couple other jobs, and I thought, this would be kind of cool to do. And I just ended up loving it even more and more. And just about every job I took had kind of a little inclusion saying, okay, I'll work for you, but I have to be off at 4:30 or 5 o'clock because I got to be at the lot. I'm going to teach from 6 to 10:30 every single night. I got basically on Friday nights, I would do classrooms in our classroom right across from Lick's Ice Cream again. And then weekends I was working there as well. And then, when we decided to part ways in 2003 with my friend Mike Kaufman, I was the chief instructor at that time. And we just started off small. And then 2006, his wife got a job, his partner at that time got a job at Lululemon in Vancouver. And he said, you know what, do you want the company? He says, I'll sell it to you for this amount. And I got a partner at that time. So we ended up buying it, and then it became, partly mine, about 49% of it back then. And then we ran till about 2017, and we thought, you know what, it's time to own this ourselves. And parted ways with the partner, and now it's all mine. And I run this basically with my wonderful wife Lanchi. She's the motorcycle operations manager. We call her Mom for short. That has no indication how tall she is. And we actually met in 2013 when she came through, and she fell in love with riding, and I kind of fell in love with her. And then she's running the operations at home, and then I run all the stuff out the lot. We started small, just one little trailer. Now we got 4 trailers, got about 37 motorcycles out there, 3 of which have been donated by yourself there over the years, and all the equipment. What bikes are
those? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was in your staff.
So what's the bikes that we donated to you?
Well, we got a 2016 Honda CBR 300, which is named Winston, after his compadre that's took the night off.
Yeah.
Lazy, I guess. No, I'm just kidding.
He's at home just chilling.
And then we have a bike, a 2018 Yamaha R3, which is named Roosevelt, after our friend here, so thank you.
Remember you cut the check for that, or you don't remember that? I don't think he remembers that.
It's hard to hold on, especially with no
opposable thumbs. He's got so much
thumbs.
money, he doesn't know what he's doing with it half the time.
And then recently we got a 2020 basically a Yamaha MT-03 named Anastasia after someone's daughter, and I don't think it's his daughter.
I think it's Winston's daughter, maybe.
You never know. But we call it Anna for short.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a highlight for us to see your bikes out there and have everybody have an opportunity to try the different styles. We have a whole bunch of different styles. We got cruisers, we got off-road bikes, we got sportier bikes, we got naked bikes. So it gives an opportunity for the person to, they don't know really what bike they want. They want to get into riding, but they don't know what bike that makes them the better rider. And all of a sudden they try some, because when you first show up with us, the first 2 days, our school is almost like this. It's like the first day is like kindergarten. The second day is like elementary, where you're learning things, and we leave you on the same bike for that. The third day is kind of junior high, to learn some important stuff. You get to try a different bike. And then high school, you get to try a whole bunch of different bikes that day and go out on the road for the first time. So it's pretty exciting. And having all the different range and models out there, so important. Also the equipment, you see some, we got football equipment.
Yeah, we got the Georgia Bulldogs and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Roosevelt's a Mississippi State fan.
Winston is
Georgia won the national championship again, 2-time national championship in Mississippi State. Remember, they beat Illinois in a bowl, so he's happy too.
There you go.
So we got the Bulldogs here with their teams they support.
Absolutely, and then you got Nicky Aiden's helmet there in 2017. God rest his soul, and a cool little helmet done up by One Broken Biker there. So amazing stuff. You got your book. I read your book as well.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got to have the Ducati and the BMW sitting there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how, just so people know, like if they're interested in getting motorcycle riding, I mean, obviously you need a Class 6 to ride in Alberta, correct?
Well, you do if you're going to ride alone.
Yeah, okay.
The cool thing about Alberta, if you get a Class 1 through 5 and you're with someone that, is going to be with you and kind of riding with you, you never need your license. You just got to have, you can still get your bike registered. But, if you're going to ride by yourself, eventually the Class 6 is what you want to go for.
Well, I mean, obviously, riding is another hobby. People like mountain skiing. We're so close to Banff, an hour and a half away. Great mountain resorts like Norquay and Sunshine and Lake Louise. But, if someone's seriously getting into motorcycle riding, would you encourage them to get their Class 6?
Well, I heard this little quote from California Superbike.
Yeah.
Basically in one of the Twist of the Wrist 2 videos. And Keith Code, guy I taught, I'm going to his course in July again. I finished all his levels. We're going to go back and retake 3 and 4 level again at Ridge this time in Washington, so a track I've never been to, so that's kind of exciting. But he said, you know what, you wake up one day like yourself and you want to be a lawyer. You're not a lawyer yet, but all of a sudden it's like, this is what I want to do. what's the education I need to get at? What's your pathway? And I believe that's true in this as well. If you want to be a rider, something set it off. You could have heard a motorcycle on Crowchild go by. Maybe your parents rode, maybe someone in your family, or maybe friends ride. And all of a sudden you get that want to do it. And all of a sudden there's your pathway. And it's whatever it is, take some sort of training to kind of give yourself a good foundation, because it's just like driver training. My kids as well, we want to make sure that they go some sort of driver training, have some classrooms so they get in their head and go out in there and put it into practice what they've been training. And motorcycling is exactly the same. And then from there, that's just the start. So once you've done high school, then you go postgraduate. What do you go to? You can go to refresher courses every year if you want, and it's done on your own bike at that point.
Yeah.
And you've attended a few of those.
Yeah.
And then advanced course that are done at racetracks. And Steve, people hear about racetracks, and we are so lucky that just north of the city of Carstairs, we have RMM, Rocky Mountain Motorsports Park. And that's going to give us an opportunity to bring people out to the track and in a safe environment learn their bikes better. And that's all it is.
We're getting off topic. Roosevelt was just reminding me when you're talking, and I know you're talking a lot. He says he wants you to answer the question. If you're seriously going to get into motorcycle riding, would you encourage people out there to get their Class 6?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get
So this is like done like the court. Right. Just give me a quick answer.
All right. And then, at the end of the day, it's like, you're running Too Cool Motorcycle School. I've taken your advanced course over 10 years ago. It was back out what was that place?
Gray City Speedway.
Yeah, and they shut that down. It was an interesting course. I remember I had a Ducati Diavolo the first year they brought that out. Interesting bike. I didn't keep it very long. I sold it for a year. But how many people how many people a year do you have going through your course annually?
Well, it's now ever since 2008. I think 2008 was our biggest year. We're 800 students, and now we're probably about 500 or 600.
So last year in 2022, you had 600 students go through.
Yeah. And
then so people understand how big are your courses? Like how many people are allowed in a course?
Well, we have basically one instructor for four students. So we like to keep about 8 students and 2 instructors, because it's just a nice size of. We do have some opportunities to have 12 students out there with 3 instructors, and that's what the course is built for. But I got to tell you, Steve, it's nice having a little less people out there, and you spend a little bit more time with everyone.
Okay, but so if someone says, "Hey, I want to sign up and get my Class 6. I've never ridden before," they're okay to come into Too Cool and paying the money and going through the course?
Yeah, a couple things you got to think. You got to have balance. You got to be able to ride a pedal bike proficiently.
So would you recommend someone riding a bicycle for a couple weeks just to get their balance down?
Absolutely.
Okay, what would you recommend after that?
Well, not only just riding their pedal bike, move their front brake to their right hand, because that is going to correspond to with the training on motorcycles. And, we have a lot of prep videos that we do, that we send out now. And that's one thing that COVID did, is we did a lot of in-person classrooms, but now ever since COVID, we've kind of done some stuff online, and that gives you a lot of ways to kind of prepare for your course, both mentally and physically.
Okay, all right. And when did the course, say, is it a week, 2 weeks, your course that you offer for Too Cool? Okay. Okay, so what's a classic course that you offer at Too Cool? Is it from Monday to Friday?
Yeah, Monday to Thursday. So we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from roughly 5:30 till about 10:30.
Okay. And do you offer a weekend course, like a crash course? If someone's too busy during the week and they can't get out, you can do a weekend course with them?
Well, we don't do any crash courses.
Yeah.
We try not to have people crash so much. But I tell you the truth, we used to do it in one weekend.
Yeah.
And we had so many dropouts after the first day. We thought, you know what? And I took this from taking a class downstates from Rawhide. And they took a class that's an 8-hour class and did it over 2 days. So I came back after taking that, and we've changed our class to go over 2 weekends. So if you like waking up early in the morning, you come for 4 early mornings, so Saturday, Sunday, and then off you go practice, and then eventually through a registry, take your exam.
So when you had the one weekend course that ran Saturday, Sunday, did you do any follow-up and ask people why did you quit after a Saturday session and not come back on Sunday?
Yeah, and most of the time it was just they were so fatigued and they felt they weren't doing very well, because back then it was about teaching the 8 maneuver skill test, and when someone couldn't correctly perform a straight line.
Yeah.
Then we had to go into a serpentine. Then we're going into a circle. Even though one maneuver would accent and help the other, a lot of people got pretty frustrated. So now we've been able to readjust because they do different testing than they did way back when I was even an examiner. Now it's basically a 45-minute road test. So it's like an advanced road test for your car.
Okay.
And so what we do is we can use that now to build confidence on different structures and stuff that we've learned to basically put into our course and make it better.
Okay, so say a person doesn't have a motorcycle. Do they have to have a motorcycle to go to Too Cool, or you provide the bikes?
Yeah, no, that's a cool thing. We'd like to provide not only the motorcycles for them to use with their time, but also the equipment.
So
Something that we got involved way back when you
Okay.
gave us a little donation for a whole bunch of back protectors. And then the next one we bought helmets and jackets and gloves and all those kind of things. And now it just eliminates the excuse of, oh, I don't want to go for training because I got to get all this stuff. It's like when you go skiing, as you mentioned, you show up, you got your skis right there, you can rent it, go out there and have some fun on the hill.
Okay, so how much is the typical, like you say it's Monday to Thursday in the evenings, and what the sessions are about 4 to 5 hours?
Yeah, 4 to 4.5 hours.
Okay, and then how much does it course cost?
Well, it's anywhere from about, you might as well say about $670 plus GST.
Do you offer any kind of payment structure, or you have to pay it up front? And
Well, there's sometimes we'll ask for a little deposit to hold your spot, but
Yeah.
you usually have to pay it fairly quickly to guarantee your spot.
Okay, and then you go through the 4 days, and then is there, what do you do for the last day, like graduation day? I think you mentioned something that there's a ride along or something like that. How does that
Yeah,
work?
we've had you out there a few times where we essentially have an opportunity where people can try up to 4 to 5 different motorcycles in little demo rides, like you'd go to a dealership, but it's just all within the parking lot to find a bike that makes you the better rider. And then whichever one you feel most comfortable with. And if you feel like going out on the road and we give you the thumbs up, then we go out on the road for about 3 hours.
Okay.
Come back, we do a little graduation. We have what my favorite part is the highlights, to let us know what was your favorite part of the road ride, because I have many. And then we have a class photo.
Yeah.
We do a little name of the group.
Yeah.
And then we have some parting words.
Okay. So, and then after they go through the course, I mean, practice is perfect. I mean, you recommend people going out and practicing on their own or with their friends before they go take their road test to get their Class 6?
Yeah, and this was something that kind of came about when COVID hit, and they had and the things with the examiners, everybody was waiting 3 to 4 months for examinations. People were kind of, oh, what do I do? What do I do? So Lanchi started something called Too Cool Kids, which is an alumni page off of our own Facebook page. And what it is, it gives an opportunity for riders that have just gone through our school to pair up with other riders that have gone through our school and have basically got their Class 6, and they go out and they ride together. And the formula for success for us, and we always say this in the course, is don't rush it. Just take your time.
Yeah.
You took the time throughout
Yeah.
the course, and nothing goes good when it's done that quickly.
Yeah.
And what they've done is they've ride for anywhere from a month or 2 months on their own bike, because you can buy your own bike, insurance, registration. We've got hookups for that in our little grad bags that you give us some swag. We've also got a nice little welcoming graduation package for them. So introduce them to someone in the insurance world, help them out with motorcycle as far as discounts. But then they can ride, and then when they're ready, just like they do in their car, go take their exam at a registry in their area.
So what if someone takes your course and then they don't have a bike and they don't have any buddies to practice? They can contact the Too Cool Kids program, and can they borrow a bike or anything like that just to practice? Or, I mean, I know it's hard to get out there because, motorcycling is an expensive sport. Obviously, people want to buy the bike, but they also remember they got to buy the helmets, a DOT approved Versatile helmet. They need the riding gloves, the boots, the full jacket, armored leggings like pants or leather. So how does someone go out there and practice if they don't have access? Can they just call the Too Cool Kids program?
Well, that's one thing we kind of mentioned in our classroom that we have, is you have to allocate about 35% of your budget for buying equipment.
Yeah.
And to go in there and settle on a motorcycle at a dealership or privately. But that equipment, yes, it's going to be a big expense at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then it's spread over so much time. Your helmets are good for 5 years.
Yeah.
Your equipment will be as good as you are essentially,
Yeah.
unless you like going down on the ground quite a bit.
Yeah.
So and to not get the bike right after the course, there's a reason why you're taking the course. It's not like you have to get a Class 6 to go get a bike. So we basically say to people, hey, you've got a great contact now in all these dealerships through us and our school, and you're part of our community, to go out there and buy a bike, because now you've tried 5 to 6 different bikes. You kind of know what you want. Now it's time to kind of make that commitment. Now there is some companies in town that you can rent motorcycles, but it's a pretty costly affair. You can even go to a registry on some registries and rent a motorcycle there as well. But what we found is, because it's kind of a foreign motorcycle, foreign to you, it might take a little bit while to get used to. And that's why we say, hey, just go get your own bike. Make that commitment. That's why you made the commitment to take the course. Make it a part of financing. That's what I did a long time. I just finance it, put it all in, and get all the best stuff I can right away, and then go out there and ride on the bike with 2 cool family and friends, we say, and then when you're ready, go get it.
Okay, so if someone's starting out at motorcycle, I mean, I got started on dirt bikes when I was very young. But, if you're going out and you're going to go somewhere like Blackfoot or Calgary Harley in Calgary and look at a bike, or one of the power sports locations owned by Jack Carter, would you recommend to go get a leader bike, a Hayabusa, right away, or start small?
Well, I got to tell you that a lot of people come to a course with a lot of different background. Some feel very comfortable at the end of the course to go get a GS 1250, to go into a leader bike if they want. But they have that, like you, with a little bit of motocross experience in the background, and that helps with the confidence. But you know what? I always say it's about 2 wheels and a motor. You can have just as much fun on a 250, 300, 400 cc motorcycle than you can on the fastest bikes in the world. Would I say, oh no, don't buy a 600 because it's too? No, some of the 600s come with the best braking systems, best mode switches, best ABS traction control. They got ABS Pro now on some of these bikes. You can dial down the modes to make it a little bit more friendly. But Steve, as you know, we're all connected from here to here. If you're going to be an idiot in your car, you're probably going to be an idiot on a bike. It doesn't matter if it's a 400 or 1,000. 1,000 just gets you to the hospital a little bit quicker, if you know what I mean.
Okay. So in total, how many students do you think you've had through Too Cool in your 20 years?
My wife and I were thinking about that over these years, and I always think it's like 1,000 students a year, but it really is. I would say it's probably at least over 26,000 students now.
Okay, and you're pretty passionate about your work, pretty passionate about motorcycling. You used to race in the past, I think it was?
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was way back in the late 80s. I was helping a guy named Jim DeWitt, and we were sponsored by Bo Cycle back then, and even Rothman's Honda when the cigarette companies were back into it. I was more of a pylon than anything, but it was a pretty amazing experience. Then I got into teaching, and then I just went out to the racetrack. I think it was in 2002, and a friend gave me his R6 to take around the track in one of the novice races, and I did pretty well. I'm like, you know what, this would be kind of cool to do. So I got into it in 2003. And 2004, I won the amateur heavyweight and amateur superbike championship here in town. And in my first year pro, I finished 5th overall out of about 75 riders. And I would have continued, but I got crashed into on my final race. Unfortunately, that bike was the down payment for the other bike I was going to get. And I just had a son that was born at that time. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to put that on the back shelf for now. And then I saved up some money and took my first course, motorcycle course, in 2007 with Freddie Spencer down in Vegas, which is now the AMWA Champ School, which I'm a 3C certified coach with the AMWA Champ School now.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, we do live in Canada. There's snow here, the cold weather. So when is Too Cool operational from? From what month to the end?
Well, we used to start basically mid-March. But we thought, you know what, let's go a little bit. Let's start April 1st, and that's not a joke. If, as my dad always said, Mother Nature still calls the shots. So if we're able to go April 2nd, we'll go. And we want to make sure it's got to be good conditions. If it's really cold out, it makes this riding a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Even though all our bikes, and we have heated grips on all our bikes. Thanks, Roosevelt, for putting them on year 3. So that takes a little bit of the distraction away. But there is a point where if it's dangerous, we're not going to go. And, we'll just move the courses. You have to be pretty
Yeah.
flexible at the beginning of the year. If you're booking in April and May,
Yeah.
don't just demand it's going to be happening on time. We want to make sure if I call it's not a good day to ride, it's not a good day to ride. I don't want
Okay.
anybody
And
to
then
get hurt.
where does the season end for you guys? Say it starts April 2nd, and when do you go to?
Well, I like ending October 31st.
Okay, so Halloween.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a Halloween party where everyone dresses up and goes crazy, or no?
Well, sometimes we're lucky enough, Steve, to have a Halloween road ride.
Okay.
So we get to go through places where I grew up, like
Yeah.
Rosemont
Yeah.
is one of the features that we do in our motorcycle road ride. So we'll take the riders through there, and they'll see all the ghosts and the goblins moving around there. So it's a nice little exercise for them of awareness of everybody
But do
around as
people
well.
dress up on Halloween or no?
Well, not for the motorcycle. We're dressing up as
Oh, okay.
motorcyclists. That's what we
Okay.
are.
Have you seen that guy with the Predator helmet around town?
I have, and the Cookie Monster.
You know
and
that guy at all or no?
I think I've known him. Might have met him a long time ago.
Yeah. I think last year he's out in Brad Creek, and I think the RCMP gave him a ticket for wearing that helmet. I don't know why. Maybe it's just. I think it was because it was too much of a distraction for everybody else.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing that can happen with distractions and stunting in a way is anything that distracts
Yeah.
someone from the job of driving. That can
Okay. So your life, it's best for us to assume that your life from April 2nd to Halloween is crazy, right? Every day you're working, okay?
be as much as I can.
Okay, and you're making all your money in 6 months, correct?
Well, in that time there,
Yeah,
that's for
you got
sure.
a small, narrow thing. So you're really out there busting your butt for 6 months, correct?
My dad said, "Make the hay when the sun shines."
Okay, but I mean, I worked, 12 months a year, but you have to bust your ass from April to October to make a living, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then what does Trevor do after on November 1st? You go to Hawaii or somewhere, or Mexico, and sit on
man.
the beach?
That would be nice. Now we do try to plan some sort of training trip every year.
Okay.
And for the last couple of years, because of COVID, we kind of held off, and
Yeah.
and we did end up going.
COVID's in the past, according
Absolutely.
to everybody. CDC says it's over with. So let's talk about now. So COVID ended in April or May 2022. I know people still are getting COVID, unfortunately. So what's your plan from now, November 1st? Obviously, you're here in January with me.
Yep.
Thanks for being again. Appreciate. But what's the plan for the off season for you this year until you hit April again?
Well, as soon as the season is over, that's
Yeah.
my time to get all the bikes oil changed, all that maintenance stuff,
Yeah.
pull the batteries, get them all tucked away. And as soon as they're put away in their homes and I got my battery charging station set up, then it's time where I can just kind of take a break. And even I asked my wife, I said, November, December, let's try and do very little. Let's just try and get our relationship back.
Well,
So-
your relationship with your wife?
Yeah,
So
because remember, I'm gone essentially from 7 in the morning till 11,
But
11:30 at night.
I thought Lan, she's like the mom of Too Cool, right?
Yeah, so
you
she's
don't
on the
see
other
her?
end of the phone and on the computer, and
Okay.
like even last night she's doing computer stuff till I think 3:30 in the
Okay.
morning.
So from November, December till now, what have you and Lan been doing?
Well, this last November,
Yeah.
we were lucky enough to take one of our twins down to the States, and we went from San Francisco all the way down to San Diego and over to Phoenix. And along the way,
Yeah.
we stopped in at Streets of Willow at the Champ School,
Yeah.
and he took basically his first riding course at a track with Nick Einach, and Freddie Spencer was there. Lanchi took the course, and I'm a 3C instructor, so I was able to help out a little bit there. And that was a highlight, just seeing those two ride around the track. And a big highlight for me was trying a Yamaha R1 for the second day, all day, and I fell in love with it so much I put
it's
a
a
deposit
Yamaha,
on
right?
one. Yeah,
Okay.
Yamaha
All
R1.
right. Okay. And then what's the plan now from tomorrow's February 1st until end of March? What's the plan?
Well, we've got a really cool weekend coming up. I don't know if, you know this, that the major motorcycle, basically the Calgary International Motorcycle Show has been canceled because of supplying issues, whatever. But 3 individuals, I've talked to a guy named Jerry. I met Earl. He was nice enough to let me in. We're having what they call Move Your Soul motorcycle show this weekend at New Horizon Mall downstairs.
So
It's a beautiful little
called
location.
why is it called Move Your Souls? Like they're going to play some soul music there?
Well, I don't know where I heard this saying, but it's
Yeah.
something I say at every class when we type the road rides. It says 4 wheels moves your body,
Yeah.
but it's two wheels that moves the soul. So I think somehow they got that quote in there that a lot of us are, understand as motorcyclists.
Okay.
And they decide, you know what, let's put on a public little function. We're not going to charge anything. We're going to have people show up from different companies, and let's welcome all these people that usually go to the bike show
Yeah.
down there.
Okay.
And, so we're going to have a couple we have one booth, 2 spots essentially,
Yeah.
and we're just going to display Wall of Fame pictures for the last 3 years,
Yeah.
all of our class photos from 2003 to 2022.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there with a smile on. Can't wait to see people that we've taught,
Mm-hmm.
going to teach, see what bikes they own, what their travel plans are, what
Yeah.
they've done.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's all about.
So this runs from what day to what day?
So February 3rd
Yeah.
to February 5th
Okay, and where is it being held?
at New Horizon Mall, just a little south of the big mall out there, Cross Iron Mill.
Okay, so that's in the Balzac area?
Yeah.
And where, if people are looking, where is it, on the first floor, the second floor of the building, or where is it located?
Well, if you drive to the furthest west parking lot,
Yeah.
the doors you enter turn a little bit to the left, and
Yeah.
you're going to see a donation spot where you can bring some food to donate for the food bank,
Yeah.
the Veterans Rider Food Bank.
Yeah.
I think the Blue Knights will be there.
Okay.
And you can come right in through the door, and we're just a little off to the left, and you're going to see new motorcycles. There's a vintage motorcycle thing there. There's a bunch of different organizations. You're going to be there.
I'm not going to be there. I'm
Well,
going to be hanging with my boys, man. We're going to be skiing this weekend. Come
That's
on.
right. There you
Yeah,
go.
I'll probably pop in. I mean, I know
hope so.
Ashley would be there, and I think we got a little booth there. Not much, But where exactly is it in New Horizon? Is it on the first level, second level? I heard it's in the parking garage. Is that true?
Yeah, the parking garage has a parking area, and
Yeah.
then behind glass,
Yeah.
in kind of an undeveloped area, there's a whole huge site there. Beautiful high roofs. The lighting's not
Yeah,
too
yeah,
bad in there,
yeah.
and that's where everybody's going to be.
Okay, and so how many vendors are going to be there this weekend?
I heard it's like 60 plus
Okay.
vendors.
All right. Okay. So you're excited about being there with
Absolutely,
Lanchi? You think
yeah.
you're going to get some? You going to be out there hustling new clients to come in and sign up for Too Cool this 2023 season?
It's funny you say that. We used
Yeah.
to do that when we went to our first bike show in 2003.
Yeah.
We were trying to sign people up, and what I noticed is people didn't want to sit there and sign up.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm here for the show. And I said, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So if you want to sign up, you can show up. We're just going to point you to the website. That's what Lanchi's been working so hard on. You can book through
Okay.
the website, and then you can just enjoy
Yeah.
the show rather than sitting with me for 2.5 hours. You get to put up with me for
All right.
23, 24
You
hours.
won't
when
be
come through.
hustling new clients there. They're bugging.
No.
Hey, please sign up. Let's
No,
get going.
if someone's there to ask a question, like
Yeah.
some of the questions that you said today,
Yeah.
which are awesome,
Yeah.
we're more than happy to help
Okay.
them out for sure.
All right. Yeah, and so you've been riding motorcycle for quite some time. Let's talk about motorcycles. It's a passion of mine. I'm always looking online. I like motorcycle MCN. Their reviews on YouTube. What's your ideal dream bike that Trevor Dech wants?
Well, first of all, congrats on having all the motorcycle magazines and the ski magazines in your area here. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I was looking at a few
Yeah.
of those.
But if people want to know what Trevor's dream motorcycle is, I mean, what is it?
Well, you know what?
You won the lottery yesterday, or today, $100 million, $649. What would you go and buy?
Well, I've been really lucky to every bike I've ever had is a dream bike.
Well, give me a
But
straight
right
answer.
now-
Come
right
on,
now,
come
what's
on. You're
coming
talking
up?
like
I
you're
know,
talking
who's
like
looking at me there?
you're talking like a politician, Trevor. Come on. I mean, if you win $100 million, $649, what is your dream bike you'd buy?
I tell you what, I'd get an R1.
An R1,
Yeah,
and then
R1,
what is an R1
It is 1,000
Who makes
cc.
it? I don't know. Yamaha.
Yeah, Yamaha
Okay.
1,000 cc motor. It's
Okay.
got a cross-plane engine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
One thing about it, it's a bike that fits me.
Okay, well, let's not talk
For
about
how I
fit.
ride.
Does it look sexy?
Of course, it does.
Okay, what color would you get?
Black, actually.
Black. So
Yeah.
you like black sexy.
So your logo pops
Okay.
on it.
And then what's the CC on that?
1,000 cc.
1,000 cc. Is that fast enough for Trevor?
It's fast enough for just about anybody. I
Okay.
think.
All right. What's the
Or a
horse?
little too fast for me.
And what's the horsepower on that thing?
Enough.
What?
It
200?
goes 0, oh my gosh, in about half
Come
a
on.
second.
I
probably.
mean, what is it? 200, 190,
it's
210?
probably over 200 horsepower.
Okay. And you wouldn't pick a Ducati? Why is that?
Well, I think they all make great bikes, but
Yeah.
for me, that's the one that has been the best to my throttle.
But why would you buy a Ducati? I want you to answer the question, okay? I'm
Well,
putting you on the spot,
I
Trevor.
can't afford them. You know,
No, but
I
if
can't
you
afford
win the
Ducati.
lotto, $100 million
Got all
bucks.
the maintenance
No,
involved.
no,
You gotta
no.
look pretty all the time.
No, but
you
with
gotta wash them all
okay,
the time.
but
Yeah, well,
let-
you can just ride, let it be.
But let's be on the question. You win the lotto, you're gonna pick a Yamaha R1. With that kind of money and the interest you can make off the money now, interest rates are going crazy. You put in a savings account, you can make a lot of money. You wouldn't buy a Ducati?
Well, you know what? I'll give my buddy a call down at Iconic Motorbikes, and I'll say, I'd like an RC 213V in a case, street ready.
Who makes that?
That's a Honda.
That's a
So
Honda.
that's
So
based on
again,
the
you're not
motor
answering the question. You wouldn't buy a Ducati, would you?
I've owned a BMW, love it.
But you're not answering the question. You know what? You
No,
should.
that's my dream.
You know
bike.
what?
I
I think-
my dream is
honestly, Trevor, the-
RC 213. Why?
the way-
Because I've always owned Hondas my
Yeah,
whole life.
but the way
My
you're
dad
going-
would be on a Honda.
But the way you're going, Trevor, I think your next career is a politician. Okay, I want you to answer the question. Come on, you're on the Bulldog Brew Dog.
Well, if I got all the money, can I have more than one?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm asking you, would you buy a Ducati
Well,
too?
let's get a Panigale then. Let's do that, or a Desmedici or something.
Okay, all right. So now you're
Maybe
talking.
an old school Ducati.
And what do you think of the BMW leader bikes?
Well, I owned a 2008 BMW S1000RR.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the new style because it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing to my eye, where the one in the background here has two offset headlights. When I never saw it, I thought it was a great bike ever since I tried it down in California. Superbike, came back and bought it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of what I did with Yamaha Jam School, tried the R1. I'm like, I love it. Talked to my friends about it, and they said that's the one to probably get for what I want to do with it.
So why didn't you keep the BMW?
Well, it was coming up to its service, and they
Yeah.
wanted a lot of money for the
What do they
service.
want?
I'm like, something like $3,000 for the service.
But it's a $30,000 bike.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
can't-
That's why I don't own
you
a
wanna-
Ferrari.
okay, so
I
you
own
want-
let's say a Honda Type R. That's what I
Okay,
have.
but you like the new design, the design of the RR. I mean, in 2023, I know they bring out the wings on the front of it now.
I think it looks awesome.
Okay, so you buy that too, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like all the tech right now. I got an Africa Twin with dual clutch transmission, so it's got push button
Yeah, yeah.
shifting. It's the way society is going to be in 10, 15 years on a motorcycle.
Okay.
It's flawless. It's fantastic. Got to try the live wire like you did.
I never
love
tried the
electric-
live
Oh, you
wire.
haven't tried the
No,
live
I
wire?
never
Oh,
tried it. Come on.
You got to read that. You got to read
Yeah,
that, right? It's
okay.
fantastic.
And then what about a Harley? Would you buy a Harley?
Yeah, there's a couple Harleys.
Well, which
I
Harley
like.
would you buy?
The Harley Fat Boy, probably made famous in the Terminator by Arnie.
Yeah, which other
That's one
one?
of my fave. The Live Wire, the Pan America would be one I'd look at as
You
well.
like the Pan America?
I do like the Pan America.
Yeah?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a fantastic engine, and I just love the way it feels. I
So-
didn't try the fancy one with the up and down suspension system.
So you've driven
That's
it.
pretty cool.
You've driven a 1250.
Well, I haven't
Pan-
driven it. I've ridden it. That's
Oh,
for
you've
sure.
ridden it.
Gotta
you
get
ridden
that
it?
right.
How long did you ride it for?
They just gave it to me for, I think it was like a day and a half or so.
Okay, would you pick that over a 1250 GS?
Oh, good question.
BMW?
You know, that's a good one too. Zerowood makes a really good off-road bike as well, which is just
I'm
electronic.
asking you a question.
But if I had to pick between the two, geez, you know, I've got BMW's always been close to my heart because I used to
Yeah.
help John Ross McRae and the Blackfoot
Who's
teach
that? Oh,
BMW as well.
Okay.
And I think I've tried the GS 1250. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pan America, gosh, it's I'd have to take both, but I probably might swing the BMW.
Yeah.
Just because I'm really used to the boxer engine, spent a lot of time on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was hugely impressed with the Pan America.
Have you
Just so
seen
much
the
fun.
new BMW 1300 GS design at all, or no?
No, I haven't seen
No, okay. There's spy shots out on the internet, so I recommend you go see it. I think
Absolutely.
it's more compact. Sort of looks like a little multi-strat a little bit, but it looks like an interesting bike. I don't know when they're going to bring it out. So,
That's why I always like getting
Yeah.
together with you. We always have
Yeah.
bike stuff to
Yeah.
talk about.
and would you buy a Hayabusa?
No, I wouldn't buy a Hayabusa.
No? Why not?
No, I don't know. It doesn't have the look that I like.
Okay,
It's not sexy enough
Okay.
for me, anyhow. That's just my taste.
And I know something. Obviously you run Too Cool, and it's a very successful motorcycle school here
Which
in
I run
Calgary.
every day, man.
Are you number one in Calgary?
I don't know.
Well, you don't
You know,
put
I
that
just-
number one finger up and say, "Hey, you're at the
I don't
number
buy
one."
ads. I don't say we're the best.
Yeah, yeah.
I just, I just care that when people come up, we give them a handshake,
Yeah.
help them with their boots on, and let's go learn this thing. And
People come and give you a hug.
then we've had hugs, we've
Yeah.
had high fives, we've had
Okay.
fist bumps, we've had
All right.
no kisses yet, so
No
we held
kisses?
off on that.
Okay. All right.
Usually we hug and kiss goodbye, but we don't do that anymore. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
All right.
But no, it's I don't know. I never am a self-believer of saying I'm the best and all that. I always believe that you got to let the customers say, and the feedback from them is so important.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I've always appreciated about you. Pretty modest. I mean, you're not out there tooting. I mean, you are talking about what you're passionate about. You're talking about your training. That you care about your students and riders out there. But you're not tooting your horn. You know, a lot of people say I'm the best of the best and all that stuff. But I mean, you've always been very modest, and that's why I've always respected you and your company. Even though I think you should change the name of the company to Too Sexy.
Too Sexy.
We've talked about
that's
that.
the Italian one. That's
open up and but you got that song Too Sexy from the '90s. You could play YouTube videos, ads on YouTube. Too Sexy motorcycle.
Maybe some royalties. You're
not gonna change it to Too Sexy.
Nah, then we got to redo our logo on the truck, and that's too much money.
Okay.
What do you think there, partner? Should we do Too Sexy or Too Cool? Okay.
He's okay.
He's okay with the cool. He's cool already.
We don't have much longer to go.
There you go.
Maybe he's too tired for this show. He's just making the money.
He's enjoying the talk.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's talk about motorcycle safety a little bit. I mean, obviously, if you're going to get out there and ride, and it doesn't matter if it's a 300cc bike or a liter bike or a venture bike, you recommend people riding with the full gear?
Every single time.
Yeah. And why is that?
You just can't pick when you're going to fall.
Yeah.
It's not if you're going to fall, it's when you're going to fall.
Yeah.
And I know you have a helmet sitting behind you that you were mentioning something about.
Let's talk about this. This is I did have a crash this past summer in July.
So wasn't this was pretty close to your house, right?
Yeah, statistics say that most accidents happen within 2 to 3 blocks of your house.
Yep.
This is the Arai
XD4.
XD4 I was wearing that day. I hit something that shouldn't have been on the ground, wiped out, and then obviously this is my helmet. I don't know if you can see those scratches on there.
In here, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously I can't wear this helmet again, correct?
That's basically, you can send it back to Arai.
Yeah.
They could check it and recertify it.
Yeah.
You just have to pay for shipping there. That's
okay. But this is like a $900 helmet. It's
easily,
beautiful. You like this is a nice.
I like the colors. Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, I struck my head on the pavement. This saved me from having a concussion. I had my leather jacket on. I had Kevlar jeans with knee pads on that. I injured my right knee. Fortunately, nothing busted. And I think that right knee pad saved my right knee. I still have pain today. Like on Sunday when it was cold out, I felt pain right away because of the cold weather, -20. But you recommend, obviously my own experience, I recommend everyone wearing full helmet, gloves, jacket, Kevlar jeans or leather boots,
reactive
and a
armor.
helmet, correct?
That's a big one, absolutely.
Okay, so safety is a big passion of yours.
It is, it's just, I look at this, it's a recreational sport, and because it has sport in it, there's equipment involved.
Yeah.
You think guys like Connor McDavid would go onto the ice with not the proper gear? He couldn't play to the effective level that he does.
Well,
that's just a professional attitude.
But you and I are old enough. Remember those old guys running around with no helmets on playing ice hockey?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was one of the ones, Steve, when I started playing hockey, my dad insisted I wear a cage. I was I was so angry.
Yeah.
I was the only kid wearing a cage, but I was also the one that didn't have to worry about getting my teeth hit. And I was able to block shots where other people couldn't block shots. So my dad was right way back then. And that was one thing when I did, even though there wasn't reactive armor back in the day when I was riding, Dad always made sure the helmet was done up. I had some sort of gloves. I wasn't riding in runners. There was some sort of work boot or something he had on me. I always had jeans as a minimum. Now they got dragon jeans, riding jeans, Kevlar jeans, all that stuff, which is fantastic. It's fashionable. It doesn't look like you're a space monster or a racer. It's about when you go down, like you even came out to the barbecue after that you sponsored, help us out there. Yeah, you're limping a little bit, but imagine if you didn't have that. What if you're riding in shorts or you had an open face helmet? You would have lost your ear.
Yeah.
Roosevelt wouldn't have been able to recognize you. He'd be like, what the hell's your problem there? Do it right or don't do it.
Well,
that's why he's the boss, right?
My right knee would have been blown out, just to let you know.
And then you can go for a walk with him. You think about how an injury can affect your life forever. And that's why it's so important at our school. Let's get people the best equipment. We've had people fall right on their ankle with the bike, get up and walk away from it. We're back in driving school days, Steve. Ambulances came and took them away. And I don't know if they ever walked again properly.
Okay. And then obviously let's go in a little bit of sports. I mean, you like motorcycle racing?
I do.
Who's your favorite obviously right now, who's your favorite motorcycle racer?
Sorry, yeah. It'll always be Valentino Rossi.
Is he still racing now?
He's not active. He runs his own camp though.
But who's a racer you like now active?
You know, I'm gonna say, and here's the politician. I like everyone that's actively racing. They all have a mentality and attitude and just a know-how that I've always appreciated from meeting guys like Danny Pedrosa way back then and Brendan Spees, and almost had a chance to meet Nikki Hayden, but when she crashed that day and hurt his pinky and got taken off, I was 10 feet away from Valentino Rossi when he said hi, and I fainted at that time. I don't really know what happened. But I got to admit that everybody involved at all levels of racing, like I would have to say Freddie Spencer is probably my all-time fave.
What about Mark Marquez? You don't like him?
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Mark is amazing. And one of our bikes, Winston, the CBR2, well, that's got the 93 on it right there.
Yeah, Nikki.
And on Roosevelt's, we got Nick Hayden's on
Nikki
his,
Hayden.
so that's cool.
Okay, all right.
So I'd have to say Freddie Spencer, because I met him in 2007, and I just got to spend our course in November back with him, and I love listening to a chat.
Okay.
He's just got a real humble, as you're talking about being very humble, and how many times he always brings up other people that in his life has made him what he is today.
Okay.
And that's why I mentioned, Nick Einoch and Keith Code and all this stuff. And you talk about practice makes perfect. We always say perfect practice makes permanent. And that was a guy named Ken Hill that used to work at Champ School.
Do you watch motocross? Do you watch a racing on the circuit right now?
Well, what I really liked is Speed Vision. You could record it at one time, but I always used to, even though I knew through Instagram who won, that the fun part for me was watching the actual race itself. I don't care who won. I wanted to see how they won, which is pretty amazing. And I haven't really been able to do that. So I kind of follow on Instagram and watch some of the highlights. And every once in a while I get to watch, because, during the season I don't get to do anything, Steve. I get to wake up, spend some time with my dog, Ray. She's a wonderful little yellow golden retriever, named after Ray of Star Wars, of course. And then I head off to work. So
I think this guy's going to bed. We're almost done.
No worries.
But, I'm going to tell you one thing about you, Trevor, that I learned. If you ever have to have a second career, I recommend you be a politician.
Well, thanks, man. I'll take that in.
I know you've been straight up on some questions, but politics may be in your second career.
Well, you never know. When I'm done motorcycle coaching, which I got 14 more years, maybe I'll get into politics.
So you're going to retire in 14 years?
Retire in 14 years,
so
69.
So by then you'll have enough students that vote you into premiership in
Alberta.
Alberta.
Well, I'm hoping, we at least get one maybe area in town.
Yeah, maybe an MLA.
And you be my lawyer, and we're all good. It's all good.
All right. And then obviously, we got the Super Bowl coming up. We got the big dog sleeping right now.
Well, that's good. Don't tell him.
Okay. All right.
He's already got his picks.
But, I know you text me on Sunday, and you got your picks completely wrong.
Totally
you wanted
wrong.
Cincinnati and the Niners.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got it totally wrong, okay?
Yep.
So now we got Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl 57, okay? I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's the team that you're going to pick to win the Super Bowl in 2 weeks?
Well, that's great, but the politician in me
is
having another little sip of coffee here. It tastes really good. But this is mine, right?
You can take that home, and the cap if you want that.
Put this over here. Thank you.
But you got to give us a straight answer now that we're giving you free coffee and a free cap to wear.
Well, it's funny listening to the interviews with the Kelsey brothers. And
I know it's called the Kelsey Bowl.
The Kelsey Bowl.
You got Kelsey.
Travis said at the BIS, he says, their mom wins both ways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I've always been, I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I really like that.
Okay,
I like
Peyton
Tom Brady.
Manning's not playing the Super Bowl.
Let's
talk about today, okay?
I really like, if I have to go out on a limb, which I'll probably be wrong, I really like the quarterbacks in both of them. I was really impressed with the first drive of Philadelphia. In their game. I felt they fell a little bit behind there, and I think if Purdy would have been in there and have that full thing to San Francisco, I think that could have been a different outcome. It's very limited when you're running all the time.
But they got their
I'm talking from an old quarterback myself.
Yeah, but the Niners got their butt kicked.
It's true.
You watch the game, so who's your pick for the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm going to say I like Patrick Mahomes.
Okay,
I'm going to say Kansas City.
So you're going to go Kansas City?
Okay. Andy Reid. It's kind of the Reid Bowl, too. Remember, he was part of Philadelphia as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to go out on a limb, and it's no limb. I just think what he can do, and how his dad supports him.
Yeah.
And I think that's just fantastic. My dad was basically almost at every race that I had, always up at the lot with me. God rest his soul. He rides with me in my passenger seat. Yeah. So I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes and then Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, Roosevelt, he's a Mississippi State Bulldog fan. Obviously got the helmet here.
Yep.
He's going Philadelphia Eagles because he's a big fan.
I'll slide that back to you, sir.
He's a big fan of Fletcher Cox, 91, that is on the defensive tackle. Player. I mean, I think they got a great defense, a front four.
Their offense and defense are fantastic.
But I think they're going to shut down Mahomes. So I'm going to take Philly in the points 2.5. Okay.
There you go. I'm going to give Patrick Mahomes 2 more weeks on his ankle.
Yeah.
And his arm is fantastic.
All right. Okay. And then just to close off the show, let's talk about you. Tell us something interesting about Trevor that I don't know and the general public and your students and former students don't know about Trevor. I mean, it could be something sexy, it could be something funny, it could be something goofy. Just tell me something, maybe only Lanchi knows. I mean, if you want to keep it private or something fun that something that people don't know about Trevor.
Well, we say at our class that riding recharges your smile.
Yeah.
Getting on a bike and it recharges, but it doesn't for me.
Yeah.
Riding does not recharge my smile.
Yeah.
I used to think it did until COVID. And I was riding and I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting the enjoyment out of riding that I see everybody else get.
Yeah.
Where mine is to be able to coach people.
Yeah.
To get them from someone that knows nothing about a motorcycle, even a little bit, to leaving and feeling confident, coming back from that road ride and listening to the highlights. That is truly what recharges. A lot of people think, I name my motorcycles. I don't.
Yeah.
A motorcycle to me is an absolute tool, just like this cup.
Yeah. Okay.
But the rider inside that coffee, that's what makes every cup of coffee a little bit different. And I think that's what a lot of people, they see me and they think, oh yeah, I just want to ride all the time. I ride very little.
Yeah.
Very little do I ride because where am I?
Yeah.
I'm at the lot.
Yeah.
I want to write a book someday, just like you got your book.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it Life Behind Bars at McMahon Stadium.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to write just about some of the things that have happened over my life. But Two Wheels, Steve has given me everything. And I love it so much. I couldn't even sleep last night thinking about the setup for Thursday. I want to make sure everything's just right. I want people to come find their picture because where else can you go to find yourself but a motorcycle show?
Yeah.
So I think some people probably know that because I do mention that in class. But the outside looking in, a lot of people think I'm just a motorcyclist. I do this. I ride an adventure bike, but I don't like adventure bikes very much. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. They don't have a good riding position.
So why do you
me.
ride an adventure bike?
I have it because it's a tool.
Okay.
It brings graduation bags to the lot. It brings a medical kit with me.
Yeah.
What I really want is a Yamaha one. Okay. And I want it 2023 because 23 is a number that's always, I started teaching when I was 23 years old. I was born in 1967. Yeah. That's number 23. Yeah. McMahon Stadium is on 23rd Ave. Yeah. And we have something we ask all our students to do once they leave our course. They leave with 2 stickers, and they're called our 23-second stickers. So wherever Two Wheels may take you, you're going to find a spot that's just amazing.
Okay.
Just appreciate who you're with, how you got there, and where you are, and without causing any vandalism. Yeah. Put that sticker there, take a picture, #23, send us, because my retirement is to find your picture or find that sticker and take a selfie with it.
All right. So
that's my dream retirement.
So that's one thing I didn't know. I thought you rode all the weekends and the evenings, but on your own, you probably, put 1,000 kilometers on your bike maybe on your own?
Well, I do ride to work. I only take 2 days in the truck for tools and fuel. Yeah. Every other day I ride. I don't care how cold it is, how wet it is, unless it's unsafe, of course. I put just about 10,000 K on the bike last year because we do, once every couple of years, we have a ride to Nakusa where we take 23 alumnus with us and we do a 5-day ride. Okay. And then now it's about putting more time at the racetrack. I went to Area 27 last year, put 509 K at the racetrack in one day. And the closest person to me was my secondary instructor. He put 408, no one was even close.
So you did 10,000 kilometers on your own bike last year personally?
Yeah.
That's still a lot of kilometers.
Well, that's going back and forth to work and on every single road ride.
Yeah, okay.
And then about 3,000 K for the ride in July.
Okay. And where's that out to?
Out to Nakusa in BC.
Okay. And that was a
place called Riders Retreat. It's fantastic.
Okay. Well, my little, the boss man's going to sleep here, but I appreciate you being here on the first episode of the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast. So thank you. I wish you all the best in 2023. I hope your school continues to flourish as it always has been in the past, and I think your passion has always been there in motorcycle sexy. Motorcycle safety is important, but again, you got to think about changing your name maybe to Too Sexy Motorcycles. So keep that in mind and let us know, okay?
Well, thanks for making me number one in the program. I can't thank you enough, man.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And thank you, Roosevelt. Have a great night.